This is a story that I will never finish. This isn't like Metamorphosis, where even to this day I still liked what I was trying to do with it and want desperately to try to recapture the same idea of the story and try to build upon the original themes and direction I wanted to take. This is a story that I will not finish because it was a story that was closely linked to my past, and it's something that I'd rather just leave behind. So I figure I'll make this video talking about it, and then I can just start deleting it from all my files so I never have to think about it again. Skytouchers. So, way back in the day, when I was still working on stories with my friend Mika, who was a very good friend of mine way back in the day, she would draw art and I'd make stories around them. We both wanted to create a story called Skytouchers, which was the story of this boy and girl named Emmett and Juno, and they both ran away from home, both for very different reasons, and they met at a carnival or a circus of some sort where they both bonded over their shared dislike and resentment of their families and the way they were treated, and so the two basically wish that they could just fly away together. As you know, when it comes to creepy carnivals at night, anytime you make a ill-phrased wish, you end up reaping the consequences. And in their case, since they said they wish they could fly away from their troubles, they both end up growing wings, like straight-up big wings coming out of their backs. And they both decide that with these wings, they're going to try to actually fly away together. Of course, flying means that they get spotted by people. You know, now everyone is talking about these flying people with these big wings and flying around, and so obviously that leads to hijinks, and that is literally where the story died. Largely because that was about the time that Mika and I broke contact, and after that, a lot of the stories that we worked on together I had no more interest in pursuing, either because they were so closely tied to the two of us being friends, or because she was the one spearheading the project, or because, for, well, random reasons. I'm not going to say that all the projects we worked on ended up the same way. Like, obviously, I finished Monster Club, but most stories that we worked on kind of died out, and this was one of them. I will admit that this wasn't one entirely spearheaded by her. I liked the idea. I was enjoying the concept. I think there's a part of us, especially when we're younger, that wants to just fly away from our troubles. Hell, even now, now that I'm like 31, I still think about, like, I wish that I could just fly away from some of my issues. I wish that I could just take off and leave everything behind. I can't, obviously, but I mean, I think we all have that dream. And flying, I think, is one of the coolest powers you can have. I wish I could fly. That'd be so neat. I would not mind having wings. I mean, they'd be a bit bulky for sure, but that'd be a really cool idea. So the concept alone was neat. The problems I had with the story mostly revolved around three things. Number one, it delved a little bit too much into the emotional teenage stereotype, where you have these two teenage characters who are very much the will they, won't they romance, but you totally know they will. It felt a little bit too much like Maximum Ride. I get the feeling that I took a lot of inspiration for this story from the Maximum Ride series written by James Patterson. And Maximum Ride is a series that I have so many issues with now that I'm a much more seasoned writer and I can actually recognize issues in writing. I now have some real problems with that series, but that's neither here nor there. And then I think the third problem I had with it was the fact that I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to run away to another country? Are they going to fly off to Never Never Land? Are they going to live in the mountains as a lovely couple? Like, what are they going to do? I had no idea. It was just the concept. And I think that was what killed a lot of my early stories that I worked on with Mika. We had great concepts and ideas and wanted to jump on them without ever thinking about how we'd see them through. That's what happened a lot. I think that's what happened with I Live with a Witch, Metamorphosis, Monster Club, a lot of stories that we worked on. Some of them I ended up coming up with endings for, and I ended up finishing them. Others, I never came up with an ending for, and they ended up just kind of petering out. And this one died very early on. I don't think I got past 6 chapters of the story. And I have no interest in going back and working on it further. In fact, the more I look back on it, the more I see some of my worst writing mistakes. I see very choppy, very emotionally driven dialogue, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I see a lot of cliches in characterization, a lot of dependency on the tragic backstory rather than the in-depth character. I see myself writing a story that was more about keeping to the concept rather than creating an actual story. So this isn't one of those stories that I look on with, oh man, I had something here and I'd really like to keep going. No, I look on it with, I really wrote this in a time when I was not a decent author yet, when I was not writing my best, but it was something, it was a passion project between me and a friend. And even at the time that I wrote it, I wasn't upset with it. I'm going to be honest. I think one thing that a lot of writers don't realize is you may look at something you're writing now and love it, then years later you'll look back on it and go, nah, I don't like what I did here. That's totally common, and that's how I feel about this. I look back on this and I think, no, this isn't it. This is not it. So I guess if I could say anything good about it, I mean, the concept alone was fun, and I do encourage write concepts. You know, if you have an idea and you're not sure if it's good, try it out, see how it feels. Like, start writing it, see how it feels, and come back to it later and see how it pans out for you. So don't be afraid of that, but also have the courage to look at something and say, this could be better. Or even look at something and say, no, this isn't it. I need to go back to the drawing board. Because that's what this is. This is definitely I need to go back to the drawing board kind of story. I don't think it's bad. I didn't go far enough to really be bad, but I could already see the problems with it this early on. And I think that's one of the issues I have with it. But, you know, that's Sky Touchers. Now, I've said my piece on that. Y'all know what it's about. I will probably never do anything else with the story again. Probably not. Will I ever write a story about teenagers with wings? Maybe. I mean, I've written the Death Diary, and he has wings in most of his art. But in this case, nah, I think I'm done with this one. Anyway, hope this one meant something to you guys. I hope that you got something out of it. I know that most of y'all don't watch my story sharing videos, but for those who did, thank you. Otherwise, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Take care.